On this installment of Character Assassination, we're talking the name Baron Zemo. Baron Zemo, and this was a name that I was familiar with when I began reading comics with the Masters of Evil takeover of Avengers Mansion, culminating in the end of that saga in issue 277, as you see here, in battle with Captain America. And at the end of this issue, I'll never forget the confrontation between these two, where Cap says here, "I still remember the trap your father set for me, the drone plane that carried my wartime partner Bucky to his death. Buck and I were as close as brothers. He was all the family I had. Your father took part in Nazi atrocities. I only tried to stop him. It's a shame his madness had to live on in you, but now at last it's over." And Zemo, here, this Baron Zemo saying, "Is it, Captain? Will you kill me, as you murdered my father?" And as Cap responds here, "I never killed your father, Zemo. He died in a rock slide, triggered by his own weaponry when he tried to kill me. Even his death was his own fault." And Baron Zemo says, "Liar, liar," and lunges at Cap. And at the end of this issue, we wonder if this Baron Zemo has died. But you know what? I spoke about this in a video that I made about the Masters of Evil saga. You can check it out. All right. But you know, the Baron Zemo that he is talking about, his father, is one that I learned of more in the Marvel Universe Book of the Dead. Now, this series was basically my crash course in the history of the Marvel Universe. I learned so much about characters past, long gone, or recently deceased, whether major or minor, populating all the major titles in Marvel Comics. And I learned of this Baron Zemo, Baron Heinrich Zemo, one of Captain America's original enemies from the World War II era. But who was this Baron Zemo? All right. Well, he debuted actually in Avengers 4, the same issue where Captain America returned. He was unfrozen from his suspended animation and brought back to life in the 60s. This is an iconic cover right here. Captain America Lives Again. And this Baron Zemo met his end in Avengers 15. Not that long after. And as you see on this cover, "Now by my hand shall perish a villain." And we know which villain this ends up being. And as you see in the bottom right, you see Baron Zemo blasting at Cap while having a interesting pose. He's almost cringing, but saying, "I will get you, Captain America." All right, but he should focus more on his aim. All right, but here you see on this cover, Baron Zemo is flanked by the Masters of Evil, the original Masters of Evil. As you see, the Melter, the Black Knight, Scourge the Executioner, and the Enchantress, as they do battle with the Avengers. All right, so this is the Pop Culture Cosmonaut. You better like, subscribe, and comment in whichever order it be. All right, but we're gonna get started right here at a look at Avengers 15. Now look, bear with me. Okay, there's a lot that I'm gonna cover in this because a lot of it is unintentionally funny. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna have a good time with this. All right, it's not really a somber issue, even though it will end with a death. It will, but let's just get right into it. All right, and here you see it starts with Zemo saying, "Too long have I remained here in hiding. The time has come for Zemo to strike back once again at the accursed Avengers." All right, you can see the evil look in his eyes. All right, and he's being carried off by these I don't know. I guess the indigenous servant he has here, probably in the Amazon somewhere. And he's just coming up with a whole lot of talk, orders, commands, declaration, decrees, whatever you want to call them. All right. But again, he's plotting. He's got to get the Avengers back. All right. And as he's carried off, he's met by his henchmen, his soldiers, who no longer wear Nazi gear. Now they've got Zemo brand gear. All right. But they're still, hiling and all that. Giving them orders. You have your orders. Obey them. You know the penalty for failure. And take a look at this dude over in the right in his thought bubble. Of all the murderous Nazi war criminals, only Zemo has managed to escape completely. But it's only a matter of time before the Avengers destroy him, or he destroys them. Well, we shall see. Usually you don't really go into the thoughts of henchmen like this. All right, but then, of course, our guy here, Zemo, he's plotting. He's got a jet on its way with his brand Z on the side. He's got to have his revenge on Captain America, especially. On all of them, not just Cap, but especially Cap. All right. And back here, you see the Enchantress and the Executioner. They're bored. They're just sitting around in the lap of luxury, it looks like. But then Zemo contacts them through this mirror-looking thing. The communicator, as they call it. All right. The time has come. My plan is in operation. You both remember what you are to do? And you don't talk to Executioner like that. Worry about yourself, Zemo. Immortals never forget. All right. And on to the Avengers. We haven't seen them. Look, throughout this issue, don't forget, we're going to get back to Zemo. But I'm going to be talking a lot about the Avengers and the Masters of Evil and some of the hijinks and antics they get up to. It's pretty entertaining. I'm not going to lie. All right. And here you see the Avengers and Rick Jones, he's basically like the male damsel in distress, isn't he? He's always getting caught up in some nonsense. And he's being pulled skyward. Oh my God. Rick, what's going on? And Rick's saying something's pulling me into the air. I can't stop myself. And in the next panel, you see, this is actually a little terrifying, to be honest. I can't even front. The Avengers can't catch up to him. Iron Man, Thor, they're flying up. But he's flying towards that plane. It's the plane. Like Fantasy Island, Hervé Villachez. Tattoo. All right. Anyways, that got nothing to do with this. Okay, moving on though. Look, up in the speeding ship. They've got Rick Jones. It's Zemo's henchman. They got him. All right, and Rick Jones knows that Zemo is behind it. The guy's talking about Zemo. But that'll do him no good. But look, the Wasp managed to get up onto the plane. Okay, Thor and Iron Man failed to do so, but she got there. She made it. And she's snooping, basically, here. As the pilot, or the guy on the plane here saying, our attractor beam has served us well. I never heard it called that. I always heard it called a tractor beam. A tractor beam sounds kind of creepy, doesn't it? Like some incel type stuff. All right, anyways, enough about that. All right, so moving on here. In the next part of this issue, you see we've got the Black Knight and we've got the Melter. All right, and they're being held captive. They're prisoners here. And they're in their costumes. Lucky them. Stop that infernal pacing. It's getting on my nerves, says the Black Knight. All right, the Melter. Your nerves are of no concern to the Melter. If only those bars weren't chemically treated to resist my melting power. All right. I talked a lot about the Melter in my Scourge of the Underworld video. You can check that out too. I talked a lot of trash about the Melter. I haven't since backed away from my stance on him. But anyways, he's pretty entertaining in this too. He's got some funny stuff going on. Okay, but anyways, they're looking for ways to escape, or at least Melter is. And Black Knight is telling him not to do it. Don't do it. All right, what are you doing? All right. But evidently a scientific delegation is coming to study them. And that's why they're in their costumes. That's what Melter is saying, at least. Hey. And as he's doing that, this glowing circle appears on the wall of their cell. All right. Wondering, is it a trap? Is it another trap? And Black Knight saying, no, it's just the opposite. Everything about it shrieks of sorcery. Sorcery. All right. And you see here, it's due to the Enchantress. She done did it. All right. So they know that they were sent by Zemo to set them free. Okay, and all they need are their weapons. Okay, and now it's on. It's on. And later on, you see, yes, there are confronted. The Black Knight ambushes Thor. Okay, but let's think about this for a second. Okay, the Black Knight against Thor, this is madness. You got no chance. The writers were out to lunch when they decided on this matchup. The Black Knight is so confident that he can take down Thor with these bolas. I mean, for real, man, come on. And look at this. Thor just easily twirls his way above it. My whirling mallet can lift me above your deadly bolas. And now the offensive is mine. I can't do a Thor voice. What kind of voice do I do for him? All right. Anyways, Black Knight's got his horse with wings flying away, and he's again perfectly confident that he has nothing to worry about from Thor, which is asinine, if you ask me. That's asinine. I gotta bust out a word like that. All right, and he's confident again that the Melter is gonna hit Thor with something, as he says here. Faster, my trusty steed. We must lure the Thunder God away while the Melter strikes from below with this awesome power. All right, well, let's see what the Melter is up to. Okay, and he's dealing with Iron Man on the rooftops. The Melter here is ducking behind this cone on top of the building. I don't know. Again, I never understood why Iron Man would have a big problem with this dude. Okay. Yeah, but again, Iron Man's pretty confident, but blasting the hell out of this cone. And let's see look at this. In the next panel, it looks like Melter is jumping into the air to nothing below. And as it says, but look at this, how they explain it. Supported by his delicately balanced cloak, the mysterious Melter almost seems to be flying as he dodges amongst the building ledges, trying to lure Iron Man to one certain spot. All right, well, his delicately balanced cloak. I don't know how that explains any of this. Okay, but Melter's trying to lure him into a trap. And there he does. He blasts this water tower, the supports, and the water tower comes crashing towards Iron Man. And then Iron Man is able to, fend it off. No problem. I'm surprised at you, fella. These power transistors of mine aren't here for show. And Melter says, fool, that's what I wanted you to do. While you concentrated on the water tank, I had a chance to use my ray to weld your boots to the roof itself. All right. By the way, in my other video, I did Melter with kind of a Brooklyn accent. I don't know if I should try doing that again here. Let's see. And now that I have you where I want you, you're helpless to dodge me. I'll turn my melting ray to full intensity, finish you off forever. Hey, what you talking about here? Hey, that's there you go. His name is Bruno Horgan, by the way. That's his real name, Bruno Horgan. Yeah, Bruno. All right, moving on to look at this. This is Tony Stark's rocket plane, as they call it, an XL-750 Hunter rocket plane. Okay, and it's motionless. It's in some stasis field. All right. But look, as they're saying here, well, who's talking? It's of no use, big fella. The ship won't respond. Something's affecting it from below, Cap. Stay at the controls while I leap to the ground. Who is gonna be leaping to the ground? Well, it's Giant Man. It's Hank Pym. Now take a look at this. He's normal sized, right? Because he's in the plane. He jumps out and Wasp is saying, "Oh my God, Hank, don't! You'll be killed, Hank!" But look at this idea. Hank Pym decides that he's gonna grow to his largest size while he's falling, and he's gonna land on top of the buildings. Look at this. There, by timing it just right. It's nothing for a 100-footer to land astride 2 rooftops like this. All right. Ooh, how much does he weigh, by the way, when he turns into a 100-footer? Because these rooftops have no damage whatsoever. No one's getting crushed by him. That's quite fortunate for everybody involved, isn't it? Okay, and down below, look at this. Scanning the crowd in the street below through his many times normal-sized eyes, the towering titan soon picks out... Ooh, look at this. And it actually looks like the shape of his eyes here in this panel. I thought so. The Enchantress and the Executioner, just as Cap said, in full costume in the crowd. That's pretty bold of these two, isn't it? Pretty bold. All right. And look what he's thinking here. She must have been holding our plane in one of her mystic spells. Uh-oh, they see me. He's surprised that they see the 100-foot giant man in full costume. He's surprised. My God. And look at this. They're running away. Hold it, you two. The Avengers want you. And they're taking off. They're on their way out. And look, the Wasp. She's back on the ground. And look at what she's done here. Pushing over this can of grease. This is one time when a little wasp can be more effective than an enormous giant. Just so long as they don't see me spill this can of grease beneath them. Look at this. By the 7 rings of Saturn, who is responsible for this? As the Executioner goes flying in the air. And the Enchantress too. She's straight up taking she looks like she's like Ricky Henderson diving into second base. You know, trying to steal a base there. All right. Yeah, but the rocket plane is now free. Okay, the Enchantress, you know, she face planted probably. Nah, anyway. But the plane is free, and Captain America, now he can go after Zemo. All right. Looking for Rick Jones too, knowing that Rick Jones means nothing to him. He's only bait for the trap Zemo must have waiting for me. All right, and Cap is on the way. He's going after him alone. The rest of the Avengers are all tied up in battle, right? All right, so here we go. This is a supersonic jet, right? It reaches the Amazon jungle within minutes. It was New York City, right? Minutes. Okay, Marvel writers. Okay, so yeah, Zemo, he knows that Cap is in the area. All right, and he wants his revenge too, right? Bring him down, bring him down. He must not escape me again. Okay, so he's got these anti-aircraft guns hidden in the jungle. Yeah, the plane though is so lightning fast, as they call it. He's got his own attack going on. Cap is on the case. Back in New York City though, Thor is still dealing with the Black Knight. Thor is really kind of playing around with them, or at least the writers must not have really figured out exactly how powerful Thor was at this point. And Black Knight thinks that he's got Thor by jumping over this building, and Thor flying straight into that building. And look at what Black Knight is confidently saying here. Ha! My flying steed can vault over an obstacle, but you can't check your flight so easily, Thunder God. How does he know exactly how well he can fly or not to that degree? He's right. I'm about to crash into that building. Okay, but look, Thor figures himself out here and narrates his agility here. But by turning in midair, I can strike with my feet, thus bouncing around the wall and continuing on my way. All right. I still don't know what kind of voice to do for Thor, so I'm just gonna leave it. All right. But yeah, now the Thor has been lured into the Melter's direction, but the Melter's chest ray, one of the dumbest weapons you could possibly have. I never understood why he didn't have a gun from the beginning. I think later he wised up and got himself a gun instead, but he cannot melt Thor's hammer, and he can't believe it. The Melter's whole personality seems to be overconfidence in his melting ray. Like he can melt anything or anybody, and of course, never's true, right? Okay, but Iron Man sees the Melter, and he wants to get some get back. All right, and look at what Melter's saying. Back, you iron clawed. You cannot defy me. Oh, no, I forgot my Brooklyn. Hey, back off, you iron clawed. You cannot defy me. Your armor's not as enchanted as Thor's hammer is. You moron. All right. See, it hits different when you do that voice. And then, of course, Iron Man is doing what he should always do to the Melter. Just fly around and dodge. Okay. He's not too worried. Okay, so he's got his jets going. And Melter realizes, he's right. I've got to join the others. I need their... well, he's thinking. He doesn't need the Brooklyn accent when he's thinking, does he? Yeah, but he's talking about his invincible beam. He still thinks it's invincible. And then Iron Man saying, when will you costume clowns learn that the good guys always win? Costume clowns, good line. All right, now, Melter hops on the back of this brown sedan that the Executioner is driving. All right? I did not know that he would be the type to just get behind the wheel of an automobile. But there you go. All right. And as they're driving away in this escape, the giant hand of Giant Man appears and stops the movement of the car. Okay? Saying it's the end of the line for Zemo's Masters of Evil. All right. Boom. And look, he crushes the car with his fist. All right. Enchantress is shocked at that. Okay. He flattened that car with one strike. And then Executioner still thinks he's got it good. No matter, I'm still his master. All I need is a weapon. Okay. And then somehow Black Knight, again, these are overconfident villains, man. I'll finish him. My lance is weapon enough. And Giant Man, Hank Pym, just picks up the car. Not when I can use this flattened shield. Car's a shield. Alright, and that's about it. And here we go. Okay, the Masters of Evil regroup, and so do the Avengers. Okay. And then, look at what Executioner's saying. Bah! Even without a weapon, my strength can defeat any Avenger. Okay, except mighty Thor, braggart. Braggart. It's a great line, great word. All right. And Hank Pym saying, it looks like a showdown at last. Showdown. All right. A Mexican standoff, as they call it. All right. And Executioner saying, hear me, Thor. You have vowed never to harm a mortal. But think of the scores of humans who will be injured if an all-out battle between our forces should take place here in the streets of the city. And Enchantress, good. You're confusing him. All right, and then Iron Man thinking about, yeah, he's right. Yep. The damage. So much damage. All right. But, they care nothing for human safety. Do not relax your vigilance. They seek to catch us off guard. And of course, Executioner, bah! If stealth cannot defeat you, I'll turn again to brute force. And then, Avengers assemble, as he yells it out here. But you know what? That's actually the end of this battle between these two in this issue. We never hear about it again. So, we'll finish out back in the jungle. Alright, look, Captain America parachutes in to help out Rick Jones. Alright? And of course, Cap, he's all alone against Zemo. Okay, and Rick Jones here saying, Cap, you're all alone, and Zemo has weapons and men, everything in his favor. Not everything, Rick. There's one weapon we're armed with he can never possess. A thing called justice. Alright. Oh, man. Okay, let's see. Zemo. He sees where Cap is. Death to Captain America. Okay, and Captain America flings his shield. Alright. And Zemo saying, "You're a fool to the end. How can your shield help you now?" Okay, and then clang. The shield hits these rocks. Hits the rocks. And then Zemo, boasting and, getting ahead of himself here. Ha! In your desperate nervousness, you missed me. And then Cap, of course, explaining everything. He explains it all. "I wasn't aiming for you. I knew your disintegrator pistol could destroy my shield. I was aiming for a more vital target, and I hit it. I hit that one certain rock." He's explaining it all. And Zemo saying, "I knew it. He's gone mad." And then, again, they're very wordy in these old comics, man. They love to talk. "No, you murderer, not mad. Just skillful enough to hit the one rock which could cause the others to fall in such a way as to cut you off from your warriors." And he did. Okay. His henchmen cut off. They're separated. Okay. "A waste of time. That cheap vaudeville trick cannot save you now." Zemo knows about vaudeville. Wow, okay. Rick Jones is in the area. "Oh, Cap, watch out. He's still holding his disintegrator." And Zemo takes aim. "Not merely holding it. I'm about to use it." And thus dies Captain America. Alright, as he bears in with the crosshairs on Cap. But look at this. The sun. The brilliance of the sun as Cap puts his shield up. But then, before Zemo's finger can squeeze the trigger, Cap tilts his glittering shield so that the sun's rays catch it at just the right angle, blinding his foe. And Zemo saying, "My eyes, I can't see." Okay? And look here, confused, bewildered, filled with fear, the hooded menace fires blindly as Captain America comes closer and closer. And Zemo's just shooting in the air, shooting without looking. "Stay back. Okay. But in his unthinking panic, Zemo's blast hits a supporting rock above him, causing another fatal rock slide. Okay. And Cap puts his shield up as all these rocks come flying down from above. And in the next panel, you see Zemo's legs sticking out from underneath a big slab. And Cap here saying, "But nothing can save the master of villainy. You can rest easier now, Bucky, wherever you may be. Your death has been avenged." It's been avenged. I'm an Avenger. Alright. And look at the last line here. "No man can perpetrate evil without paying the price. If destiny could speak, it would say, 'By my hand shall always die a villain.'" And that is the end. As the box at the bottom here of this panel concludes by saying, "But though Zemo shall menace mankind no more, the most spectacular battle of all time awaits the Avengers in New York. And the outcome of that battle shall bring a change in the lineup of the Avengers, as you will see and marvel at next issue." All right. Pretty sudden, abrupt death, don't you think, everybody? And I'm sorry, I think Baron Zemo kind of went out like Super Dave Osborne, man. Look at his legs sticking out the bottom. I'm sure that happened in a Super Dave stunt numerous times. All right. Zemo died in a panic. It was totally unavoidable. All it took was shininess from the sun for him to basically trigger his own death. Okay? He only lasted about a year of publication of issues. He went out like a chump, you know? I'm sorry to say, you know, but his son brought the villainy in a big, big way. That was character assassination. That was the Book of the Dead from the Marvel Universe, which I treat like the gospel, all right? If they printed someone's death in those issues, I rate it, I count it, I believe it, and I uphold it, all right? So if there's any other deaths that you remember from the Book of the Dead that you want me to cover, let me know. Let me know. This is the Pop Culture Cosmonaut, and later for now.